What if I told you that Dolly Parton's fairy tale marriage to Carl Dean wasn't as perfect as it seemed? For nearly 6 decades, Carl Dean was the man behind the curtain, mysterious, reclusive, and almost invisible to the world. But now, as the truth begins to unravel, we're left wondering, was Carl Dean the devoted husband everyone believed him to be? Or was there a darker side to their love story? Let's dive into the mystery of Dolly Parton and Carl Dean's marriage. A tale of love, loss, and secrets that might change everything you thought you knew. The beginning, a love story born in a laundromat. In 1964, a young Dolly Parton arrived in Nashville with big dreams and an even bigger voice. She was just 18, a small-town girl from Tennessee, ready to take on the world. But fate had other plans. One day outside the wishy-washy laundromat, she met Carl Dean. He was 21, a quiet man with a soft-spoken demeanor and a love for simplicity. From the moment he saw her, Carl was captivated. "This was the day my life began," he later said of their meeting. Their courtship was slow and steady. In those days, a young woman couldn't easily date a stranger, so they met on her aunt's porch for a week before Dolly agreed to a private outing. From there, a love story began, one that would last nearly 6 decades. They married in 1966, just as Dolly's career was starting to take off. But while Dolly's star rose, Carl chose to stay in the shadows. Why? Carl Dean was the opposite of everything Hollywood stood for. While Dolly dazzled on stage with her glittering outfits and larger-than-life personality, Carl ran a road paving business. He was a man of simple tastes, gardening, tinkering with old trucks, and spending time with their dogs. He rarely attended Dolly's award shows, skipped her grand performances, and avoided the spotlight at all costs. In fact, there are only a handful of official photos of Carl Dean in existence. Why did he choose to remain so hidden? Dolly once joked, "He loves me good and all, but I'm really not his favorite singer." Carl's love was quiet, steady, and private. He didn't need the world to see their love. He just needed Dolly to know it was there. But as Dolly's fame grew, so did the distance between them. While she toured the world, Carl stayed home, tending to their garden and their dogs. Was he content with this life, or did he feel left behind? The cracks in their fairy tale began to show early on. Dolly and Carl dreamed of having children, but a devastating health condition shattered that hope. In the 1980s, Dolly was diagnosed with endometriosis, a painful condition that led to a hysterectomy. The loss of her ability to have children plunged her into a deep depression. Carl stood by her, but in his quiet way, no grand gestures, just silent support. Dolly poured her grief into her music and her charity work, but the void remained. Did Carl feel the same emptiness, or did he carry his own regrets? As the years passed, Carl's reclusiveness only deepened. He rarely appeared in public, even as Dolly became a global icon. Rumors swirled. Was Carl unhappy? Did he resent Dolly's fame? Or was he simply a man who valued privacy above all else? The truth is, we may never know. Carl Dean was a man of few words, even to those closest to him. The biggest mystery of all lies in Carl's final years. As his health declined, Dolly scaled back her career to care for him. Carl was battling Alzheimer's, a cruel disease that stole his memories, even of Dolly herself. Imagine the heartbreak, the woman who sang of love her whole life, watching her husband forget her. Dolly stayed by his side, reading to him, singing to him, trying to anchor him in their shared world. But Alzheimer's is merciless. In the end, Carl Dean passed away on March 3rd, 2023, in silence, just as he had lived. Dolly's announcement of Carl's death was brief and cryptic. "My husband Carl has left this world, but he will always be in my heart." There was no public funeral, no grand farewell. Carl Dean slipped away as quietly as he had lived. But the questions remain. Why no funeral? Why so little known about Carl's final days? Was Dolly by his side when he passed, or was she caught in the demands of her career? Carl Dean's life was a mystery, even to those who thought they knew him. He was a man who loved Dolly in his own way, quietly, steadfastly, without needing the world's approval. But was that enough? Did Carl ever feel overshadowed by Dolly's fame? Did he regret the life they never had? The children, the simplicity, the quiet moments that slipped away. Dolly Parton's love for Carl Dean was undeniable. She called him her perfect man, her rock, her partner for nearly 60 years. But love, even the strongest kind, isn't always enough to bridge the gaps. In the end, Carl Dean's story is one of love, loss, and the secrets we keep. Was he the devoted husband everyone believed him to be, or was there more to his story? The answers may never come to light, but one thing is certain: Carl Dean's legacy is as complex as the man himself. So what do we really know about Carl Dean? Why did he choose to live in the shadows? Was he truly content with his quiet life, or did he feel trapped by Dolly's fame? And what about those final years? Did Carl ever realize how much Dolly sacrificed to care for him? The truth is, we may never know. Carl Dean took his secrets to the grave, leaving behind a legacy of silence and speculation. But perhaps that's the way he wanted it. Carl Dean wasn't a man who needed the world's approval. He loved Dolly in his own way, and that was enough for him. For Dolly, Carl was her anchor, her rock, her partner through life's highs and lows. And in the end, that's all that really matters. Dolly Parton's love for Carl Dean was a love story for the ages, one that defied the odds and stood the test of time. But like all great love stories, it wasn't without its struggles. In the end, Carl Dean's life was a mystery, even to those who thought they knew him. But one thing is certain: his love for Dolly was real, even if it was hidden from the world. So what do you think? Was Carl Dean the quiet hero of Dolly Parton's life? Or was there a darker truth behind their marriage? Let us know in the comments below. And remember, sometimes the most compelling stories are the ones left untold.